Hello to all you amazing light warriors. So today I was reflecting on both the light side, Team Light, and the dark side, Team Dark. And we all know, right, from the elevated standpoint, from the ascended viewpoint, that both of them are needed in order for us to come into full embodiment, in order for us to embrace both the light and the dark, which are really just expressions of the same thing, different expressions of the same thing. But I was thinking that as long as we are polarized negatively, meaning within the dark side, where we're selfish, where we're doing things for personal gain, where we are still playing in the game of jealousy or envy or lack, which is all polarized within negativity. As long as we're going to belong to Team Dark, there will be conditions there. Nothing is free in life. And so today I was speaking to a client who was telling me they're always drained. Well, you're always going to be drained. Being drained is a sure sign that there is a faction that you're working for, that you're an employee of, that is within the dark team. So whether that faction be guilt or whether that faction be shame or fear, well, you're a representative of that. Now, the only way that we can earn our wings is if we start to polarize ourselves within the positives, meaning service to others, meaning no longer feeding into those narratives of lack and duality and polarity. None of that. To earn your wings, you have to constantly sacrifice your ego, your human self, your monkey mind, over to those higher aspects of the self, over to your higher self. So you pretty much have to sacrifice those lower aspects of the self over to the higher self, which would entail that you would have to blindly stretch your faith, blindly stretch your trust, and all of those things, because we're never shown what's on the other side of that until we're fully initiated. Once there's an initiation that sets in, then the blindfold gets removed and you are given or handed a new understanding, a new dimensional perspective that you didn't have access to before. But whenever you're going to be a representative of the dark side, this is why we have to ask ourselves, what am I going to be a servant to? Am I going to be a servant to the light or to the dark? Well, if you're going to be a servant to the dark, that's going to come at a price. And you will always know based on how you feel, if you're feeling stressed or anxiety, or you're feeling sad, or you're feeling uncertain, or whatever it is that you feel, you will always know that is a clear indication that you're serving the darkness and there's something that you need to give up. Whether it be a person, whether it be a habit, whether it be whatever it is, there's something that you need to give up. And so from that perspective, the darkness acts as a teacher, because if you once and for all banish whatever it is that you're doing or whatever it is that you're engaging in that is siphoning your energy, then the darkness succeeded in being your teacher and helping you come into more mastery. That's why the darkness is needed, because we need both of those expressions of the very same thing, which are derivatives of source consciousness, to help us move and attain self-mastery, to help us move into those higher echelons of consciousness. Wings are earned and they start to grow, but then you go through other initiation phases and they grow even more and they take on these beautifully structured shapes and forms and colors. And the more mastery you come into, the more refined your wings are, the more beautiful they are. And your wings are like a structure in and of themselves. They're like your auric field, if you will. So whenever I look at someone's aura, I see a structure around them. Think of it as like a building, or I heard someone say once, a snowflake. Magenta Pixie had said that. It looks like a snowflake. I see it as wings. And they're all fine. It's whatever it is that you resonate with. But we have to ask ourselves, when am I willing to sacrifice to fully, fully, fully belong to Team Light? And when you fully belong to Team Light, you really come to a conscious realization that the darkness is an aspect of the light that you hadn't integrated yet. The darkness was light disguised as darkness so that you can become more embodied. Okay? So that you can start to be the epitome of what it means to walk in a balanced, calibrated state. But whenever your energy is getting drained, or you find yourself playing the victim, or you find yourself playing the hero where you want to save everyone to your own detriment, then there is a deal that you've made with a dark force. And it takes a lot of mustering of courage and bravery to, in a way, come out of these contracts, to come out of those dark contractual agreements that we made that sustained us energetically with a price. This is the other download I got the other day. As long as you are feeding into time, into the illusionary construct of time within the third dimensional grid, as long as you are feeding into the guilt, the shame, the fear, well, the dark side is your employer. And so you are going to belong to it. You're going to be an employee of that, and it's cutting you a check. And in return, it's going to demand that you give it your energy. And that's why we feel energy deficiency, because we're still serving something that is not going to enable the planet, enable humanity to ascend into those higher octaves of existence. Now, from a higher standpoint, we've already ascended. This is just a perspective, all right? So we have to do our due diligence to really, really, really ask ourselves, what is binding me? What is anchoring me into the lower grid systems, into the lower constructs of reality? And then as you terminate those contracts, that can be really scary because it's always difficult to say no to someone. If you have a hard time saying no to someone, it means you're still enslaved to a dark force. These things can be very difficult, conquering fears, saying no to people, all of that. But when you do it, you're going to come into more freedom and it's going to get really fun. And you're going to start to realize that this was all a game that you designed of your own making, right? This game is of your own making. And that you would remember that you are the game maker. You're the game maker. And sometimes we get caught in being the player within the game. We get caught in the illusion. And we cut ourselves off from that source consciousness, from that game maker viewpoint. We're here to be the player in the game as the game maker. And so this entire reality was designed by you. And any time that, and I said this in my last video, the 1-minute video I did, anytime you find yourself complaining about your life, you're just complaining about how genius you are. Because you architected this entire reality so that you would point yourself inside, and you place little clues and hints along the way that would allow you to do so. The fears, the judgments, all of that are clues that are pointing you back inside so that you can retrace to the source self, to the God self that lies within. You are a genius, and it is time for you to recall your power and to earn your wings, to spread your wings so that you may soar to the highest dimensions. Okay? Ask yourself what it is that you're doing, or who is in your life, or what this is all energetic. So what energy is in your life or has infiltrated your field that is keeping you from your highest self? We have to ask ourselves, am I going to be a representative of the light, or am I going to be a representative of the dark? All right? The dark is teaching you how to integrate. The dark is teaching you how to embody. The dark is teaching you how to reconnect with your higher self as your higher self. So take heed of everything that presents in your reality and start pinpointing what it is that you need to change or shift or alter within your reality that will allow you to fly. Because you are a warrior of light with amazing, beautiful wings. And you're here to leave a massive footprint on this universe. I love you guys. Much love.